What is someone who does not believe in a dog? A dyslexic atheist. Hello class, my name is Scott and I am dyslexic. I hope to persuade you with evidence showing dyslexic learn differently than 90% of the population. Made by Dyslexia said, quote, I am a 1 in 10. What does that mean? I'll paint you a picture of a newborn life. This is Emily. Like 1 in 10 children, she will be born with dyslexia. The left parapentorum part of her brain will be affected, which means her neural pathways will be different than those without dyslexia. Emily will see patterns most of us cannot see. She will grasp complex problems with ease and will think laterally, differently, and creatively because of her dyslexia. Emily could change the world with an invention or inspire a generation with her thinking, like Albert Einstein, John Lennon, Agatha Christie, and Richard Branson. These people made the world in which we live. They were dyslexic. The world sees dyslexia as a disadvantage, when in reality it is not. The word God on a chalkboard would read dog to a dyslexic. 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic. 60% of entrepreneurs in the world are dyslexic. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed males have a greater propensity towards dyslexia. Contractions usually are not in their vocabulary. You see, they cannot recognize contractual structure. Words like there, T-H-I-R, or there, T-H-E-R-E, or they are, T-H-Y-A-R-E, all have different meanings and thus are hard to spell properly. I before E, except after C, sometimes works and sometimes it does not. The English language has multiple rules that fall short with 1/10 of the population. As a senior in high school, I received a pre-draft notice. I went to a military recruiting office in Los Angeles, California. I sat at a desk and took a rather lengthy test for the entrance into the Army. To my dismay, I scored average. I knew I would be going to Vietnam and may not come home. The next day, I tested again and scored in the top 0.5 percentile of the United States military. What changed? Diagnosis: I have dyslexia. This prognosis changed my life and gave me new light to my learning challenges. Tools and techniques changed the way I thought and I learned. Some of these tools I use daily to help in my educational progression. Do you know anyone who is dyslexic? They do not have a capital D on their forehead, and they are not unsocial, and they do not become hermits. Dyslexics live all around us, and when set free of the educational norms, they succeed. Dr. Katie Griggs, the founder and creator of Made by Dyslexia, talked about her life as a dyslexic in a video, quote, creative brilliance of dyslexia, end of quote. Dr. Griggs attended the only dyslexic school in England with her brother. Dyslexia came to her genetically through her father. She married a dyslexic and has 2 dyslexic sons. She decided to change the world and started Made by Dyslexia. She opened a sperm bank for dyslexics in a mall in England. The Dyslexic Sperm Bank was actually an awareness center for the disorder. The windows, the walls, the catalogs, and the doctors disseminated information and shared stories. of famous dyslexics to curiosity seekers. Dr. Griggs stated, quote, "Dyslexics are not stupid, lazy, or dumb. They just learn differently than 90% of the population." Steve Forbes, Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, Alexander Bell, and a host of others have this disorder and function outside the normal box. Have you ever met a dyslexic? When reading, most individuals receive information at the front, middle, and back of their brain. Receptors channel and process inputted visual cues to differentiate words. Dyslexics only use the front of their brain. Missing information becomes jumbled words, letters, and numbers. When I write something on the computer, I use a blue font and I enlarge the font to 16. Dr. Richard Marion Robbins has worked with dyslexics all his teaching life. He states, quote, "Cognitive learning is done through the audible and tactile information processed in the brain," end of quote. Dr. Robbins went on to say, individuals with dyslexia literally think out of the box. As teachers, we need to get out of the normal teaching box and experience the learning process as the 1 in 10, end of quote. What would persuade you to learn more about the 1 in 10? My grandson, Max, is dyslexic. He learns through hands-on experience and verbal cues. He is homeschooled because the Alpine School District in which he lives could not provide for his needs. I got involved with his education by teaching him 1 day a week, 4 hours a day, reading, math, and other cool things, and then 4 hours of art on another day. He is a remarkable student. He started to use his new techniques in his learning and wears a blue pair of glasses to help in his reading. He, like other dyslexics, are tactile in what they learn. I'll show him something and he reaches to hold the object. He needs to memorize the feeling of the object in his hands. You probably already know someone in your circle of friends who is part of the 1 in 10. Have you ever watched them struggle with reading and now understand why it is? Just like the newborn Emily, Max came into this world with a different thinking process. Verbal cues and techniques shape a dyslexic's world, not the normal teaching of our school systems. Maybe Emily and Max will change the world. They truly are our future. What can you do to help others like Max and Emily?